Hey guys, Tom here again from synthhacker.com and welcome back to another tutorial for NI Massive. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at creating a key sound that kind of resembles like a Rhodes type sound. Obviously, you know, a Rhodes in real life is really harmonically complex, so it's actually hard to create it exactly. But you know, it's just a really nice key sound in general that could really, you know, work in a lot of different genres. So this is the sound that we're going to be looking at. So a really nice key sound. Like I said, I think it could work in a lot of different genres. If you recognize those chords, you have really good taste in music. It was of course from Massive Attack's Teardrop, and I think, you know, it kind of works in that kind of style, you know, kind of like down-tempo, chill out, electronica type stuff. But you know, it could also work maybe in like the breakdowns, like a house track or something like that as well. But yeah, I'll stop rambling now and let's initialize the patch. So just click new sound up here. As always guys, this video is sponsored by my website, which is synthhacker.com, or you can click the link in the description down below to check out my preset packs for NI Massive. I currently have a sale on the mega pack, which contains all the packs in one, which is around 500 presets for Massive. So definitely go ahead and check that out if you haven't done already, and thanks in advance if you do decide to purchase that. It really does help support me and the channel. But without further ado, let's begin making the sound. So the first thing to make sure, it should be okay if you've just initialized the patch anyway, but just to make sure that it's set to polyphone, so that you can play more than one note at a time, and we're just going to keep the unison voice on 1. So that means that you don't really need to worry about the oscillator tab too much, because we won't really get any gliding. You may want to add a bit of vibrato to the sound. That's completely up to you. I didn't in the sound that you heard at the beginning, but I mean, you know, that might be something that you want to think about doing. But without further ado, let's dive into the oscillator tab. So the wavetable we're going to use is this Herbie wavetable down here. We're just going to leave it at the default octave, and we're going to bring it around here. And then what we're going to do is use a envelope to modulate the wavetable position of oscillator 1. So we're going to make sure first of all that the sustain is pretty much full, and then we're going to give it a little bit of attack as well. The other thing to make sure you do is increase this velocity parameter here. This essentially means that depending on the velocity of the notes that you hit, there'll be more or less modulation. So I put it around here, just over halfway, so that we get a nice soft sound, and then simply drag and drop this onto the wavetable position and push this up. I'll just show you the difference that this makes. So you can hear when you rise this up, it gives it a much softer sound, which we definitely want to go for with the Rhodes. But that's completely down to personal preference, really, and you know, the kind of sound that you're going for. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that it's being routed through filter 1 and filter 2, because we're actually going to have a mix of filtered sound and also just the raw harmonics being passed through as well. We're going to actually switch filter 1 off, so we've just got like no filter, and then we're going to use filter 2, the low pass 2-pole filter, bring the cutoff right down and the resonance down a little bit as well. We want to make sure that the volume is full. And then what we're going to do is set up another envelope. We're going to set up envelope 3, we're going to make it linear. We're going to bring the attack right down like so, and give it a little bit of release as well. A little bit more sustain, and we're going to bring the decay down a little bit. And then what we're going to do is simply drag and drop this onto the cutoff position. And what this is going to do is just kind of add like almost like a pluck-like nature to the sound. Not so much pluck, but more kind of like what you'd expect from a key sound. Really nice. The next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of distortion. Oh, so something that I forgot to do is also increase the velocity amount on here as well. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is jump into the inserts. We're actually going to use a sine shaper, bring the drive down a little bit, bring the dry wet down a little bit as well, and this is just going to add a little bit of nice distortion and harmonics to the sound. It's really kind of down to personal preference on how much impact that this has and how much drive you want. You actually get quite an interesting sound when you push the drive a little bit, but like I said, it's completely up to you really. The next thing we're going to do is just dive into the effects. We're actually going to add a small reverb to the sound just to put it in a bit of space. You don't want, usually, obviously again it's completely up to you, but generally with key sounds like this you don't want to absolutely drench them in reverb. Just add in a nice little bit just to make it a little bit more interesting, and it just makes it, not sound quite as cold. Next thing we're going to do is just add, take away some of the low. So we're going to bring this low shelf down a little bit on the EQ, just to clean it up a little bit at the low end. And then finally, we're just going to bring the sustain down a little bit on the amplitude envelope and give it a little bit of release as well. You can hear when you just soften up the attack a little bit, just increase it a little bit on the amplitude envelope, it kind of takes away that kind of click sound at the beginning as well. I don't mind a little bit of a click at the beginning, just to kind of, in a mix you'd hear when the keys are actually being pressed, but like I said, again, it's completely personal preference. And there we go, there is our key sound. Really nice sound. You could take this a lot of different directions. I mean, if you could actually turn it into kind of more of a pad if you softened up the attack on all these envelopes and used a big reverb instead of a small reverb. That could be something interesting you could do. But in general, this is just a really nice key sound that I think would be useful in a lot of different genres actually. So yeah, hopefully you got a lot out of this tutorial. Please leave any comments down below if you have any questions or suggestions for future tutorials, because I'm always looking for new ideas for videos. Subscribe if you haven't done already to stay up to date with new tutorials that I bring out as soon as they're uploaded. And again, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out my website over at synthhacker.com, or click the link in the description below and check out my presets for Native Instruments Massive as well. So that covers everything, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.